I'm going to show you a way to solve one of the most inefficient areas in your house. Of course, everybody knows that windows can be drafty and there can be gaps around your doors, and that's true too. But what many people don't know is that can lights are one of the most inefficient areas in your house. So what's a can light? If you're not familiar with it, I'll show you here in just a second. But I've got a coffee can to demonstrate what the can lights are. Can lights are, you've got your ceiling. There's a hole cut in the ceiling for the can, and then the light bulb screws into that can. Well, the attic is above the can, the hot attic, and these cans that the light bulb is attached inside of has a bunch of holes in it. And if you've ever been up in your attic in the summertime, it's blazing hot, and that hot air comes through those holes in the can. And in the wintertime, it's even worse because it's brutally cold in your attic. Cold air sinks, hot air rises. That cold air comes in through those holes and just freezes wherever your house is. This past winter, I had that, and I was changing a light bulb, and the cold air was rushing into those holes, into my bathroom. Bathroom was always freezing. I did this fix to solve it, and I'll show you what I did. But let me show you how hot it is and what the difference is in temperature around the ceiling, and then to show you what the can light is doing. So these are what can lights are. You've got a light in the ceiling, and there's a can. So I've got my infrared thermometer here, and I want to start. And hopefully we can see this. All right, so we're at the top, 84. The ceiling is hot just because the attic is right above it. 82, 81 and a half degrees. So let's go to the can light here and see what that does for us. 93, 90 some degrees there at the can light. Let's go to this other one. Back down to 80 degrees. It's really hot here. It's 100 degrees where I am today. So not surprising that the ceiling is hot because the attic is up there. 99, 98. It was 100 a few minutes ago. There we go, 100 degrees. So you can see the problem here. We've got that hot air coming through here. So let me show you how to fix that. Here's my can light. I've taken the light bulb out. And the way you take out, they're all pretty much the same. But you can see this little spring here and how that's attached. It's attached to that hole way up there in the top. I'm just going to lift that spring, and I'll show it to you after I take it out. Just lift those up and they'll pull out. It's a little hook, and then you can take down this can assembly and do that for you. Here's my can assembly on the ground. I've taken out these little hooks, these little spring hooks. The top of this hook here hooks up into that first hole, and then on the other side, this spring, you can probably see that hook there. That attaches to that other hole. And as I was taking this can fixture down, I could feel and smell the attic up there. Now let me take you up to what it looks like when you take that out. See all those holes that are in there? Hot air is pouring in through there, and in the wintertime it's cold air. And then there's a huge gap here between the can fixture and the sheetrock. And this is actually a fairly good insulation. I can feel how warm it is up here. Now, those holes there are to let some airflow to keep that light fixture cool in there. And if you're using incandescent light bulbs, incandescent bulbs get very hot, and they need some sort of airflow to cool them off. So I wouldn't use this on anything greater than a 100-watt bulb, preferably 75 or 60 watts. Now I use fluorescent bulbs, and those are much cooler running bulbs, so this isn't going to be an issue at all. And keep in mind that you may sell your house someday and someone else is going to replace the light bulbs you've got, maybe with an incandescent bulb. So I don't advise you do this with a high wattage light fixture. What we're going to do is tape those holes there closed with this high temperature 3M foil tape that I bought. And you see it says cold weather. It's also for hot weather. The specs on this, and that's important to look up, the specs on this tape go up, say that it's good up to 300 degrees. So up to 300 degree environment. So even with an incandescent bulb up there, this tape will still be sufficient and won't overheat and won't burn. And that's really the concern, is that if you put duct tape or something else, you don't want to do that, that you could have something that could potentially catch on fire. And those folks that say that this idea is not a wise one, well, they're not entirely wrong if you're using it in a high wattage application and you're using the wrong kind of tape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this tape into little strips and block those holes. And if you choose to, you could leave 1 or 2 holes open if you're concerned about that. But I've used this in all of the light fixtures in my house, have 0 problems. And of course, these are low wattage applications, 60 watt bulbs, 75 watt bulbs, and I use a fluorescent version of these. So really these are about 10 to 15 watts of energy. So absolutely 0 problem there. Here is the completed can light tape job. You can see that I just have little strips of tape wherever I need it. And that goes all the way around. And then you can see here at the bottom, I just taped the gap shut between the can and the sheetrock. But you can see that's just a big upside down can basically going into the attic, and there should be some insulation above it. And I've done it to the other light. You can see it over there, but right now I'm gonna put the fixture back in, and then you'll see the completed product. Here is the finished installation. You can't see any of the tape because it's all blocked by the canister there and the fixture. And got my handy dandy thermometer. Look at that, 86 degrees. The ceiling next to it is pretty much the same thing. That has made a world of difference.